Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Bobby, and before I get started, I'd like to make an announcement, and that is that we're expanding supervised practice. Currently, we have the 3 o'clock class. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to add a 1 o'clock class. Now, if you want to reserve your spot, you need to call the Caprock or stop in. The book is here. I don't carry the book with me. The book is always here, so call Caprock or stop in and reserve your spot. The 1 o'clock class is what I'm adding, and that's going to be from 1 to 2:15. And I'm going to add that for beginners. Now, just ask yourself, in which class would you feel more comfortable? Would you rather be with beginners, or would you rather be with intermediate and advanced players? And that will determine for you which class you should sign up for. And I would get it in a hurry. If it's anything like those other classes, it's going to fill up. And so, again, 1 and 3 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's here at Caprock. And the first class, the 1 o'clock, is more for beginners, and then intermediate and advanced after that at 3. All right, today's lesson. Harvey Penick wrote his best-selling book, Harvey Penick's Little Red Book, back in about 1990. And I read the pages out of it. And I don't know if you all know this, but that book is not only the best-selling golf book of all time, it's the best-selling sports book. I think 2.5 million copies in hardbound, and Lord knows how many paperbacks. And I read something way back then. I hadn't forgotten it because I read it so many times, and it didn't make sense to me. I didn't appreciate it. But now that I've been teaching golf all this time, I know exactly what he means. And that is that the golfers, should never wrap their hands into place. They instead should simply place their hands on there. Like 30 years ago, that didn't mean anything to me. But here's what he meant, because there's a big percentage of golfers, particularly those who fade the ball, who like to wrap their hand in place. They take their hand and they have their palm facing them, they get it there, and then they try to wrap it. Now, the fact that this person would ever want to have their hand here shows that what makes sense to them is a little weaker grip. But they've heard they're supposed to have it stronger, so they start here and then try to wrap it to make it strong, and they never get in the right spot. Evidenced by the fact that you can see all these fingers. When you can see these fingers of this left hand from the viewpoint of the camera there, that's a weak grip. These things should be obscured and not visible to someone looking straight on. Now, if you have that, and I say, okay, stop doing that, just place your hand on, don't wrap it, place it in the right spot. I've ignored something tremendously huge about this, and that is that's just the beginning of sorrows. If a person has been doing this, they're stricken with another ailment as well, and that is they've trained themselves to not release the club. And so every single time that I encourage someone to just place their hands on there and put it in a good spot, I have to go to step 2. And here's step 2. I ask them, I say, put just your left hand on the golf club for me. Let's run a little test, see where you are. And here's what I want you to do. I just want you to simply swing it back and forth. Just do a little mini golf swing, just left-handed. Now, if they do it like I just did it, no problem. Everything's fine. Just fixing their grip, the method in which they put their hand on the club, they're fixed. All's good. They can move on. But that's not what's going to happen. Anybody who's been wrapping their hand is going to fall into this group. This person, when they swing just left-handed, will do this. They've trained themselves to not release. You see, there's a well-kept secret in the golf swing, and that is that the left elbow is always pointed at the ground. It's never pointed anywhere else. It's never ascending. It always points at the ground. So just as we get to the impact, it might appear that this left arm is going to ascend. It rolls over so it stays pointed at the ground. That's huge. That's the release. That is what a good grip gives you the ability to do. And so let me say that again. You can't just fix the grip. If someone's been doing that for a while, you've also got to train them to release the club, because they haven't been. And here's what happens. They've got their new grip. They've done it with, okay, now I see what you're saying. Oh, so roll this arm over. Oh, that's speed. That's speed. That rolling over is speed. Whoa. Let's put 2 hands on there. Whoa. And then they put the ball on a tee and they hit their 8-iron. Instead of going 110 yards with a little fade, it goes 160 yards with a little draw, because they've fixed not only their grip, but also a release to match. And so that's today's lesson. If you've been wrapping your hand, you've got to learn to place it. But even then, you're still not done, because you've probably trained your arm to not release. I want to thank you all for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you next week.